Now, breaking news from WRAL. Coverage you can count on.
Case closed. An investigation into toxic chemicals at NC State grinds to a halt. What brought the inspection to an end?
Asking families for help, Wake Schools lays out a new initiative to keep students safe from gun violence.
And what a beautiful day it is, but the rain that's back to our west arrives tomorrow, and it will affect part of the weekend. I'll show you how to plan around it.
With breaking news we're following this noon, the federal investigation into toxic chemicals at Poe Hall is closed now. Good afternoon to you. I'm Jeff Hogan.
And I'm Renee Chu. Thanks for joining us. We sent this WRAL push alert shortly before 10 this morning. NC State's chancellor cites federal cuts for the decision.
Chris Levengood is in studio with us right now to talk more about this. And Chris, this is a follow-up to Keely Arthur's reporting on Poe Hall.
You know, Renee and Jeff, Keely has been pretty diligent in reporting on this, and she's working on getting more documents for her report on this tonight. So I'll explain what she's learned so far. A CDC investigation was underway into cancer-causing chemicals called PCBs. Those were found in Poe Hall in 2023. And so we interviewed several women who say they became sick after spending time in the building years ago. The CDC was conducting what's called a health hazard evaluation. In a letter, NC State Chancellor Randy Woodson said that evaluation was closed. And he said this is because of federal cuts. In fact, he said other evaluations statewide were halted because of this exact reason. In fall 2023, NC State entered into one of these evaluations, but the university quietly pulled out and then re-entered after WRAL Investigates reported that update. The evaluation could have determined the effects of PCBs found there. Now, it would not have been mandatory for NC State to take action once those results were available, which they're not. 5 on Your Side asked an NC State spokesperson if the university is planning an attempt to get the evaluation details, and that spokesperson said all that was able to be shared was included in the chancellor's letter. We still have not heard back from the CDC just yet, Renee.
Chris, thank you. WRAL's 5 on Your Side has been investigating contamination at Poe Hall since 2023. That's when the university closed the education and psychology halls after testing revealed high levels of toxic chemicals. Since then, more than 200 people who worked or studied in Poe Hall have told us that they have cancer or serious illnesses. You can find our coverage on this topic on WRAL.com.
High pressure brings dry weather today, but our next front approaches tomorrow. Meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner is on the WRAL weather patio with a look at when we will see those storms Friday into Saturday, Elizabeth.
So high pressure right now is to our north and east. You can sort of see it there at the top of the screen. High pressure systems rotate clockwise, and with that clockwise flow, it's been pushing some drier air into our region. It's going to act to block some of the rain that's back to the west, and you can see rain just east of Asheville. It certainly looks like that rain is headed our way, but that high is going to be a powerful blocker, and it is going to keep it from moving in today. Now the high will start to move away from us tomorrow. This is tomorrow at 6 a.m. and that will allow the rain to start to shift eastward. We may begin to see some of that late morning or closer to lunchtime, especially in our southern counties, and then just sort of on and off through the day. It's not going to rain all day on Friday, but we may begin to see more scattered showers and storms. Saturday is the day when the cold front comes through, but it's interesting to see this run at the computer model. This is a look at our high resolution run. It takes us out through Saturday evening. It does look like around 1 or 2 o'clock we begin to see a line forming up, and that's going to be right ahead of the front. After that, much of it starts to move out. So that would be a fairly early time of arrival of the front, maybe right around lunchtime through the middle of the afternoon. Once that moves on by, potentially we would be done for the weekend. So we'll be watching that. We'll get several more runs of that particular model in before Saturday. We'll let you know if the timing changes at all, because there are a lot of festivals and things happening over the weekend. It is an 80% chance, but it isn't going to rain all day long. So let's say you have plans to be at Spring Days in Cary. We could see some scattered storms. Again, keep checking back for updates on that timeline.
A push for families to lock up their firearms. New initiatives between North Carolina officials and school systems are designed to promote safe gun storage by parents. WRAL's Flynn Snyder is live at Garner Magnet High School this noon for us. And Flynn, state leaders say this is all to help keep students safe.
Yeah, it's called NC Safe for Schools, which stands for Store All Firearms Effectively. It will give parents content and other resources like these cable locks here. Officials held a news conference here this morning with one message to parents: lock your guns. Safety officials are relying on school districts to get these resources out that are aimed at spurring conversations about safe gun storage. This initiative comes as the Department of Public Safety says 83 guns were found on North Carolina school campuses last year. In 75% of those cases, students brought those guns from home. Last week, bullets were found on the cafeteria floor at York Elementary in Raleigh. So far this year, loaded guns were found at Southeast Raleigh Magnet High School and Enloe High School. North Carolina Attorney General Jeff Jackson was at this morning's announcement and said this is about keeping guns off school campuses.
We just want to make sure we get the message out and we get the hardware out free of charge to make sure that folks are acting on the beliefs that they hold, which is we should be doing a little bit more with respect to storage to keep guns out of the hands of kids and criminals.
And the Department of Public Safety leaders say they are optimistic that by getting this message out, they can change behaviors and encourage more safe storage. The DPS hopes to expand this program to all school districts statewide. Flint Snyder, WRAL News, live in Garner.
And our WRAL documentary unit explored why a high number of children in North Carolina are likely to die from gun violence. You can watch Unsafe North Carolina Kids Dying from Gun Violence anytime by going to WRAL.com.
In 1 hour, a jury in Johnson County will hear closing arguments in the murder trial of Dorian Thomas. He's accused of shooting his child's aunt during a custody exchange. WRAL's Chelsea Donovan has been following this trial. She joins us live from outside the courthouse. Chelsea.
Yes, so Renee, after 5 days of testimony, the jury is likely going to get this case just about an hour after those closing arguments, and they'll have to decide if 50-year-old Dorian Thomas intended to pull the trigger, shooting Emily Steinhoff, his child's aunt. Now, the defense put 50-year-old Thomas on the stand yesterday, where he spent close to 7 hours testifying in his own defense. Thomas contends that he took his gun out when his ex, Hillary Lombardi, and Emily Steinhoff came banging on the door to pick up the child that the couple shared. Thomas states the shooting was an accident after he and Hillary Lombardi got into a scuffle and she got a hold of his gun and it went off. Then Steinhoff suffered a fatal gunshot wound right there on Thomas's porch. Now, the state believes it wasn't an accident and not in self-defense, and that Thomas intended to kill. This shooting happened 1 day before Thomas and Lombardi were set to have a custody hearing for their daughter, in which Thomas was looking to gain full custody of. Now, the jury again will hear those closing arguments beginning at 1 p.m., so just less than an hour now. We'll, of course, stream that on WRAL.com, and then afterward will likely be in Verdict Watch. Live in downtown Smithfield, Chelsea Donovan, WRAL News.
We now know the name of the young man killed in a crash on I-40 near Rock Quarry Road. Raleigh police have identified the victim as 18-year-old Ethan Chibuminkwan. Police say the victim was speeding when he rear-ended another driver, causing both vehicles to drive off the road. The other driver hit a guardrail, suffering minor injuries. The young man hit a tree, dying from his injuries.
And happening right now in the WRAL Live Center, the Trump administration has asked the Supreme Court to allow the enforcement of a ban barring transgender people in the military. This after a federal appeals court kept an order in place blocking that policy nationwide. Trump previously said the sexual identity of transgender service members, quote, conflicts with a soldier's commitment to an honorable, truthful, and disciplined lifestyle, even in one's personal life, and is harmful to military readiness. This is all happening while legal challenges proceed.
Durham school employees will share their goals for the district at tonight's school board meeting. One of their ideas is creating an agreement with the city and county to allow heart crisis care to be accessible in schools. That HEART program sends unarmed crisis responders out to some emergency calls. The meeting gets started at 6:30 this evening.
Republican state lawmakers violated the North Constitution in a recent law over control of state elections. That's the ruling from a state trial court. After Governor Josh Stein won the 2024 election, state lawmakers passed a law taking away the governor's power to appoint leadership at the state elections board. The judges ruled that is unconstitutional. They cited a series of other cases the legislature has lost in recent years, trying to take power away from former governors Roy Cooper and Pat McCrory. Stein celebrated the ruling, writing on social media, "The North Carolina Constitution puts the governor in charge of executing the law. That's what the voters elected me to do, so that's what I'll do." Stocks are on track for a two-day winning streak here. The Dow Jones Industrial Average up 230 points. S&P 500 advancing 60 points. NASDAQ also in the green, a triple-digit rally up 288 points as the Trump administration softens its stance against China as well as the Federal Reserve.
Next at noon, presidential plea, what Donald Trump is asking of Vladimir Putin and what prompted the message.
Also, power struggle. The electrical lines being removed after Southern California wildfires, while investigators search for cause.
Plus, affordable housing, groundbreaking on the new WRAL project and the number of units it'll bring.
Keep watching WRAL News over the air Channel 34 and Spectrum Channel 1257.
President Donald Trump posted a message on his Truth Social platform this morning, urging Russian President Vladimir Putin to stop the killing.
This was after Russia's deadly barrage of attacks on Ukraine's capital overnight. The message goes on to say, "I'm not happy with the Russian strikes on Kyiv. Not necessary, very bad timing. Vladimir, stop. 5,000 soldiers a week are dying." Keir Simmons reports today President Trump will meet with Norway's prime minister, a strong supporter of Ukraine.
This morning, a massive strike on Ukraine's capital. Russia reducing residential buildings to rubble and killing 9, including 6 children, Ukrainian officials say. Again overnight, families in Kyiv sheltering underground amid the barrage. President Zelensky cutting a foreign trip short, saying Russia, which rejected a 30-day ceasefire, is avoiding, quote, tough pressure and accountability. The Trump administration ramping up the pressure on Ukraine. President Trump declaring yesterday that Putin is ready for a peace deal.
I think we have a deal with Russia. We have to get a deal with Zelensky. I thought it might be easier to deal with Zelensky. So far, it's been harder.
The vice president in India saying
it's time for them to either say yes or for the United States to walk away from this process.
High-ranking US officials dropping out of peace talks in London. A US proposal to recognize Russia's capture and annexation of Crimea would violate Ukraine's constitution, Zelensky says. While for post-war Europe, recognizing territory taken by force would be unprecedented. But Trump branding Zelensky's comments inflammatory. Zelensky can have peace, Trump writing on Wednesday, or he can fight for another 3 years before losing the whole country. In Moscow, this woman telling NBC News, "We need a truce," but a man we spoke to insisting Russia should keep fighting. While in Kyiv, this woman saying, "We don't need peace at this price." Battle-hardened views, making compromise harder.
It's Keir Simmons reporting, and Zelensky also noted that Ukraine had agreed to a U.S. ceasefire proposal 44 days ago as a first step to a negotiated peace, but Moscow's attacks have continued.
And happening right now in the WRAL Live Center, a 19-year-old has been charged with arson after he sparked the New Jersey wildfire after setting a bonfire. This is him here, 19-year-old Joseph Kling from New Jersey. Authorities say he left wooden pallets in New Jersey's Pine Barrens without fully extinguishing the fire. He is charged with arson and aggravated arson. No injuries or deaths have been reported from this fire, but a commercial building and some vehicles have been destroyed. About 5,000 people were evacuated and then told they were able to return to their homes. The officials there say that this is still a very active fire. An update on this is planned for later today.
Crews remove power lines and towers in Southern California as part of an investigation into how the Eaton fire started. The fire killed at least 18 people and destroyed more than 9,000 buildings. A law firm blames Southern California Edison. They claim this video shows electrical arcs and sparking from a transmission tower. Shortly after, you can see orange flames. Edison officials have said they do not believe their equipment started the fire. With hurricane season coming up, FEMA is losing 20% of its staff. About 1,000 full-time FEMA workers are expected to take voluntary buyouts. That includes employees who oversee response plans and disaster recovery. They are part of the Department of Government Efficiency's latest staff reduction efforts. President Trump has called FEMA partisan, ineffective, and unnecessary.
If you haven't had a chance to get outside just yet today, do yourself a favor. Get out there. It's near perfect. Elizabeth Gardner is out on the WRAL weather patio. Would you agree, Elizabeth?
I would agree. And you know what makes it perfect is our humidity is very, very low. So we might have temperatures like this. We climb up into the low 80s at other times of the year when it's really humid, and it just doesn't feel this good. I mean, it's phenomenal. Yes, as Jeff said, get outside. And a lot of people are taking that advice. We take a look down Fayetteville Street here. Lots of people are strolling around downtown right now, enjoying the sunshine. This is our Jimmy V camera looking down toward Memorial Auditorium. Lots of sunshine out right now. A few high, thin clouds, but generally just lovely. Our temperature is 76 and our dew point is 45. We typically feel like if the high is going to be around 80, that a dew point in the 50s feels comfortable, and then down into the 40s, it just makes it feel even better. It's lovely out here right now. 74 in Southern Pines, 74 in Goldsboro, 73 in South Hill, 72 in Roxborough. A few more temperatures a little closer to the Triangle, 73 in Garner, 75 in Cary, and 78 in Apex. So feeling lovely, mostly low to mid 70s everywhere. We talked about this just a little bit at the beginning of the newscast. We have high pressure that's sitting off the coast of New York, rotating clockwise. It is funneling in some nice dry air right into our part of North Carolina, and it's going to act to block the rain that's back to the west. I mean, you look at it, and generally it looks like that rain is moving in our direction, but it's going to run into that wall, which is that high pressure system, and it's not going to arrive here later on today. Now, we do have our wind right now out of the northwest. You can see the blue shaded colors. Those are the wind streams. That's where the wind is coming from, but that won't last too much longer. As we get into this afternoon and evening, our wind starts to come out of the southeast, and then eventually, look at how those colors start to turn red. That's going to be a lot of warmth and humidity that comes in for us tomorrow, and that is going to open the door to more showers and thunderstorms arriving. But today stays nice and quiet and dry. 81 in Raleigh and Durham, 82 in Fayetteville. 75 is our normal high. We'll be in the low 80s through Saturday. We get a break in the temperature and the humidity again on Sunday, where the high is 73. I love our reported photo. This is a look at this gorgeous, just light fog that Jim Barrett found in this beautiful field there in Lewisburg. Thanks for sending us that. Go to WRAL.com/reported, and we'd love to see your photos. Our muggy meter again is feeling great. It's down at 45, so right in the refreshing zone, as low as really it goes on the muggy meter. But for the next couple of days, it's going to jump up a couple levels up to tolerable and then feel refreshing again for Sunday and Monday. A small chance for showers and storms tomorrow at 30%. It's an 80% chance on Saturday. So we're going to be watching for Boogaloo on Saturday. We also Boogaloo on Friday. And so Friday may be the better day, or try Saturday morning. I'll tell you what, though, the new high-resolution models have come in, and it may be more like early to mid-afternoon. I'm going to show you those in detail coming up in just a few minutes.
Elizabeth, thanks. Best paying degrees. A new survey finds which college degrees pay the most and some that pay the least. Today on WRAL News at 4, where you can get the best bang for your buck.
And cell phone ban. One of Raleigh's independent private schools will not let students use their cell phones next year. On WRAL News at 5, how families were informed about the decision and why the school made that move. Plus, still ahead this noon, the rise of AI. Scammers are using the technology to dupe people out of their hard-earned cash. Up next, we'll help you spot fake messages.
Also, doggy discipline. We'll share ways pet parents can curb common behavioral problems. Welcome back. Such a beautiful afternoon as we give you a live look at Carr Lake from Clarksville, Virginia. Oh, looks so nice out there. A beautiful spring day. No rain today, but the rain will be in the forecast for tomorrow and the weekend. AI tools like ChatGPT, Gemini, and Claude are transforming how we work and communicate. But scammers are using the same tools to create smarter, more believable scams. Kimberly Simon of Secure Network Administration joins us now to break down 3 ways cyber criminals are using AI to trick people and what you can do to stay a step ahead. Kimberly, good to see you again.
Good to see you.
All right, so first we want to talk about AI-crafted phishing emails. What are they and how to spot them?
Oh, great. So criminals are now using AI to create more realistic looking emails. You know, back in the day, you could tell an email was fake because it had loads of mistakes and inaccuracies.
Lots of
but
typos.
now, exactly. But now AI allows criminals to create more realistic emails that look like they're from your employer, your bank, or even a loved one.
Just using some logos or images too to make it look even more real.
They're using information that's already been stolen online to trick people into thinking that it is a legitimate email because it has information that is accurate.
So what would be some red flags if they do look real?
Great. So look out for some red flags such as the email being a little bit off.
Okay.
So typically a scammer will change a word or a letter or a number in an email address. So always verify that you're looking at the correct email address. And then another thing you can do is verify that that person did send you that email. So before you click on any links or download any attachments, make sure that they are from a legitimate person by checking with them via phone or email.
Take the time to verify.
Verify.
Okay, from emails to maybe, voicemails or voice calls. All right, criminals are now using people's voices, and that sounds real.
Oh my goodness. AI allows criminals to now clone people's voices. So they can take someone's voice just from a few seconds of audio from social media, voice call, or video call. And they use those fake voices to impersonate loved ones asking for money or impersonate business executives asking for sensitive information or for money to be sent to places. So it's important for people to be aware that just because the voice sounds real, it doesn't mean you're speaking to the right person.
Okay, and then we've been hearing about these deep fake videos and fake profiles that are out there. Again, got to be careful of those and verify.
Correct. So deep fakes allow criminals to create fake websites, to create fake social media campaigns and social media accounts so that people are being tricked into giving to fake charities or to investing in fake businesses or even buying fake product. And the way to get around that is to double check. If you are going to work with a new business or send your sensitive information, take the time to just double check that they're a real business, look at their business number, make sure that you're on their legitimate site, and make sure that you've done your research. Look at the reviews before you give your money away.
And cyber criminals are hoping that people are in a rush or they're preying on their emotions, right? Yes. You hear from your loved one or you see someone that you think you know and trust, yes, that you're not going to take that extra step to verify what's going on.
Oh yeah, they are playing on urgency. So if that is a red flag right there. If there is urgency, then I would double check that and don't act on emotion or panic, even if the voice sounds real.
Kimberly Simon, always good to talk with you. Thank you so much for walking us through this, and we will take the time to verify. If Jeff, you and I are not endorsing any products, if people see any kind of videos, just know we never ask for money. We're not asking for money.
We're not peddling anything. We're not pushing it.
That's true.
All right. Keeping up with demand, though, more affordable housing is coming to the capital city when developers hope to complete that project. Also, safety first, an SUV flips end over end and the driver walks away, where this near-death crash happened. And here's a look at your winning NC Education lottery numbers on the screen. We'll be right back.
Shot in 4K ultra high definition. Your #1 source for local news. WRAL News. Coverage you can count on.
This morning, city leaders broke ground on a new project that will bring more affordable housing to Raleigh.
WRAL's Noah Klein is here with us now with how many apartments this will bring to the city, Noah.
Jeff, Parkside Apartments will have 144 units. That includes 1, 2, and 3 bedroom apartments. The apartments will be available for anyone making between 30 and 80% of the city's median income. This new development is on Kent Road. It's right off Western Boulevard there near NC State's campus. The city partnered with some private developers to get this project up off the ground. Rents are expected to range from roughly $600 to $1,400. That depends on a family's income.
A project like this is needed just due to the rapid growth we've seen in the greater Raleigh area with just housing costs just soaring.
As for what comes next year, officials estimate the project will be completed sometime between May and June of 2026.
Some people in downtown Raleigh are pushing back against a development plan in a historic neighborhood. Residents made their voices heard at a community meeting about development near Peace and West Streets in Glenwood South. That could include buildings up to 30 stories tall. A lot of people are not happy with the idea. Others feel it would bring more life to downtown. The meeting was held for the developer behind the project to get feedback. A final decision will be made at a later date.
A lane closure in Raleigh starts tonight. You should be aware of this. Starting at 7 o'clock this evening, the intersection at Lewisburg and Forestville roads will look different. Left turns will not be allowed. Instead, you'll have to make a combination of right turns and U-turns to get to your destination. This is part of an effort to enhance traffic flow there and make the area safer for drivers. Work in this area could last through mid-July.
Cary residents can share their concerns tonight over the proposed transformation of Waverly Place. This is what it looks like now, a community gathering space filled with shops, restaurants, a grocery store, and a movie theater. A developer has asked the town to rezone the area so that it can add 750 multifamily units, 30,000 square feet of commercial space with pedestrian and bicycle improvements.
That's a lot of people that are added to this. They're going to be going to work every day and coming back home from work. And they say that this is a destination center, and people are, the people that come here now are more than likely not going to want to come anymore because they won't be able to get in here.
The town conducted a study that indicates traffic impact will be minimal. Cary's town council meets at 6:30 tonight.
And back here in the WRAL Live Center, a Chicago man who admitted to fatally shooting 7 people and injuring dozens of others back in 2022 at a 4th of July parade was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. This is him, Robert Cremo. He changed his plea to guilty last month, moments before opening statements at his trial. He pleaded guilty to 21 counts of first-degree murder and 48 counts of attempted murder. Dozens were wounded in that shooting in a suburb about 30 miles north of Chicago. They ranged in age from their 80s to an 8-year-old boy who was left partially paralyzed from the waist down.
We're getting our first look at what Pope Francis's tomb will look like. It's made of marble from northern Italy. It'll be inscribed with Franciscus and an image of the cross he wore as Archbishop of Buenos Aires and as Pope. NBC's Jay Gray spoke with one pilgrim from the United States. She explains why it was important for her to wait hours to get one final glimpse of the late pontiff.
For the second day, tens of thousands are in and around St. Peter's Square. The line stretching for over a mile today, some waiting for hours to spend just a few seconds filing past the coffin of Pope Francis here. Yesterday, more than 68,000 made that journey, and we expect that number to climb today. So many just anxious to be here, anxious to say thank you.
I got up at 4:30 to be here at 5 a.m. like everybody else in this line to pay my respects to Pope Francis, thank him for so much that he's done for the church, for me personally as a Catholic, and to pray for the next Pope.
You know, the crowd's really a testimony to the respect and love so many have for this man they called the Pope of the People. He was an original in so many ways. The first Latin American, first Jesuit to be elected Pope. He was also the first to take that name Francis. That was to honor St. Francis of Assisi, a 13th century saint, really known for his poverty, humility, and pursuit of peace. And taking that name really set the tone for his 12 years as the leader of the Catholic faith. That's the latest from here at the Vatican. I'm Jay Gray, NBC News.
Why dogs get aggressive, what pet owners need to be aware of when it comes to the behavior of their beloved animals.
And sleep equals brain fuel, the difference good sleep can make for how teenagers do in school. Our team is working to bring you exclusive stories for coverage you'll find only on WRAL. Visit WRAL.com and search only. You're getting a live view from the WRAL studio tower, and a gentle reminder to just look up every once in a while and just take in the beauty. We have a mix of sun and clouds out there. It'll be mostly cloudy, and that'll keep our temperatures under 80 degrees. You're watching WRAL News, available on Spectrum and the WRAL app on your TV or streaming device.
Aggression is the most common and most serious behavior problem in dogs. Different forms of aggression require a different approach. Sean Langiel spoke to a veterinarian who reveals just how many pups may need help.
While most dog owners probably think their furry friend is the best,
we all love our dogs.
All the puppy love may be causing them to turn a blind eye to their pet's behavioral problems. And if you think your pooch isn't guilty of acting out, researchers at Texas A&M University say, think again.
Dogs have problems, and owners have identified these.
According to a new study, more than 99% of dogs in the U.S. have some sort of behavioral issue. Researchers looked at survey data from owners who took part in the Dog Aging Project,
which is a many hundred questions survey of dog owners.
Teams specifically looked at the owners' responses to behavior questions and found
there were 3 top categories where dogs were having potential problems. The first of these was aggression, and that was over 50% of the dogs. A second category had to do with fear and anxiety, and that was approximately 50% of the dogs. The third category had to do with separation types of issues and attachment.
If not handled properly, these issues could pose health and safety problems for pets and people. But animal experts say there are some signs of problems, like aggression, that many owners may not realize, citing the importance of raising awareness.
That's Sean Langiel reporting, and veterinarians say things to watch out for if a dog's uncomfortable may start licking its lips or yawning, and their ears will go down.
Spring cleaning. It's not just limited to your garage or your closets. Why now is a great time to get rid of expired medicine. Plus, story of survival. The driver of an SUV goes airborne and lands on its roof. What the trooper says, the driver walked away uninjured. Dangerous car meetups are taking over city streets. It's a major risk to public safety, and stopping it is proving difficult. It's the focus of a WRAL investigation that airs tonight at 6. WRAL Investigates Sarah Kruger is live in downtown Durham to tell us more about tonight's story. Sarah.
Renee, one of these meetups happened right here in downtown Durham, this busy area right by the Bulls Stadium. And look at the street here. You can actually still see the tire markings from this months later. Now take a look at the video itself, and it just keeps getting crazier as it goes on. You see cars come in and block the intersection. They pour gasoline on the street, light it on fire, and proceed to do car stunts. You see people filming it all, and there's even someone wearing an inflatable dinosaur suit, clearly trying to make this a show.
How much of a driver is social media in all of this activity?
It's a driver in all the crime we deal with now. I think the biggest thing with street takeover activity is the spectacle of it. The fact that they can get really cool videos of cars doing donuts, stuff that looks like it came out of a movie.
And Durham police tell me a new state law could be part of the solution, yet there are significant roadblocks. Tonight at 6, we explore the dangers of these car meetups and the factors that are complicating getting all of this under control. Sarah Kruger, WRAL News, live in Durham.
An SUV goes airborne. It's all caught on a trooper's dash cam. This is from a trooper in Kansas pulling over to help a driver on the highway when the dash cam caught video of that SUV driving in the median. At some point, the vehicle hits something. It goes airborne and lands on its roof. The trooper rushed over to help that driver. Officials say the driver was wearing a seatbelt and was not hurt in the crash. The CEO of the social chat app Discord is stepping down less than a week after police say a 10-year-old girl was kidnapped by a man she met online. CEO and co-founder Jason Citron will remain on the board and transition to an advisor role. Investigators say that 10-year-old girl communicated with the man over the game Roblox and chat app Discord. Investigators reached out to both companies to locate the girl. Discord is very popular among gamers with more than 200 million users.
Tonight, Harnett County officials will decide whether they will continue adding fluoride to their water supply. The county's health department will hold a special meeting to discuss fluoridation tonight at 6. The Board of Commissioners will be following up this meeting next week.
Look at the sunshine out there. I'm telling you, without the humidity and how nice it is out there, it's just about perfect out there. And WRAL weather patio, certainly a place for that. Elizabeth Gardner there right now.
It's lovely right here. I'll tell you what I will say, though, is turning around and looking, a lot of the azaleas are past their peak, but they do bloom, in succession based on, what sort of variety they are. So there's still some blooming. But I think last week and the week before maybe was the peak. But it's still absolutely beautiful in the gardens. There are a lot of people out here enjoying them today. And it's pretty everywhere. Fayetteville, Raleigh, Apex, Chapel Hill. Chapel Hill's courtesy of Top of the Hill Restaurant. A little bit of high, thin cloud cover out there right now. But our next weather maker, which is that stalled front, is slipping southward towards South Carolina because of that high we talked about earlier in the newscast. That high pressure system is just making all the rain back up today, but storms return tomorrow. So everything lifts back to the north and we start to see a slight chance of storms Friday, and then a little better chance on Saturday with the cold front coming through. Behind that front, Sunday looks phenomenal. So if you had the choice between outdoor activities, Saturday versus Sunday, Sunday will be nicer, but Saturday isn't necessarily a no-go. We take a look at our next weather maker, that front down to our south, high pressure system already starting to pull away. There's rain between, say, Asheville and Greensboro, and even though it looks like it's moving in our direction, it really isn't. This is 5 a.m. tomorrow, and there might be just a quick isolated shower. It's not going to be anything that really affects the morning commute, but by lunchtime there could be a few pop-up cells that we end up seeing. This is going to be 6 o'clock Friday. Doesn't look like a lot of widespread rain during the evening commute. And then we'll just watch the overnight period. There may be some overnight showers and storms. This is 7 a.m. on Saturday. It's cloudy but quiet. And then potentially between noon and 2, we see that line that develops and moves on through. Really after about 3 o'clock, we see some clearing behind it. Now, that's a bit faster than the runs that we saw earlier today. So keep checking back if you have plans to be outside on Saturday. There are a lot of festivals, lots of fun things happening for the weekend. Keep checking back. We'll be watching the timeline. We still have a lot of runs of the computer models between now and Saturday to take a look at. Flooding risk for today is all well back to the west, where, of course, all that precipitation is stalled today. Once it starts to move a little farther to the east, we'll see dry conditions, of course, for today. But on Friday and Saturday combined, we'll likely end up with around 1/4 to 1/2 inch of rain. It may be that there's some spots where some of those thunderstorms are a little bit more slow moving, where some of the totals are a little higher, but that would be an average. 30% chance of rain Friday, 80% on Saturday, but it'll move on by, and then, we'll be fine. Spring days in Cary on Saturday. We'll definitely deal with some showers and thunderstorms at some part of the day, likely during the afternoon, but it may be the early part of the afternoon. Sunday, behind that front, looks breezy, bright, cool, just really, really lovely. Monday looks great too, and then we get back into some heat for Tuesday and Wednesday. Wednesday, 91.
How much is enough? Most parents will agree it seems like teenagers are always sleeping. Why it might not be such a bad idea to let them snooze.
Also, here's a look at your winning Powerball numbers: 15, 44, 63, 66, 69. The Powerball is 20. The multiplier is 2. We wrap things up with a look at a few of the headlines we're following for you today. We have breaking news. The federal investigation into toxic chemicals at Poe Hall is now closed. The CDC was conducting what's called a health hazard evaluation. In a letter, NC State Chancellor Randy Woodson said that evaluation has been closed. 5 on her side was asked an NC State spokesperson if the university is planning to attempt to get the evaluation details. That spokesperson said all that was able to be shared was included in the chancellor's letter.
A push for families to lock up their firearms. New initiatives between North Carolina officials and school systems are promoting safe gun storage at home. This initiative comes as the Department of Public Safety says 83 guns were found on North Carolina school campuses last year. And get this, in 75% of those instances, students brought those guns from home.
We now know the name of the man killed in a crash on I-40 near Rock Quarry Road. Raleigh police have identified the victim as 18-year-old Ethan Chibunmakan. Police say the victim was speeding when he rear-ended another driver, causing both vehicles to drive off the road. The other driver hit a guardrail and suffered minor injuries. The young man, Chibunmakan, hit a tree and died from his injuries.
As part of your spring cleaning, now is a good time to go through your medicine cabinet and see what's expired. That's because Saturday is National Prescription Drug Take-Back Day. Disposing of old medications helps prevent accidental poisonings and overdoses. If the expiration label is worn, you can keep an eye out for discoloration or decay. And if it's hard to tell, just err on the side of caution. Consult your pharmacist or physician.